Sometimes at PubWorks we get concerned calls from customers saying that they've entered activities into PubWorks for a certain period of time, let's say a month, a year, or whatever you want to have, and they go back and want to look at the records, and some of them aren't there, and they're concerned as to what's happened to them. Has PubWorks lost them? The good news is that the records aren't lost. Normally it's a matter of having set filters so that you're only seeing a small portion of the records at any one time, and so you just need to know how to go back and recapture or refind all the records that you want to look at. While data filters in PubWorks are set by each computer, sometimes you may have somebody who has used your computer in the recent past and they for some reason wanted to check out records that have been entered, and so they set the filter, but they forgot to unset it before they left. And so you come back to your computer and voila, something's not there and you can't find it. Well, the first place to look is up here in the little filter area. And notice that I'm looking here at daily activities and I have filter set with an asterisk. Let's say I want to look at all the activities done in the first quarter of the year to review that I have everything in there. And I go to my screen, and the first thing I notice is, as I'm looking through the records, is I only see records for the month of March. I don't see any records in there for January, February. So this tells me that something's wrong. And so one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to look up here at this little filter button, and I see that there's an asterisk by it. And what this asterisk means is that the filter has been set, and I should investigate this and see what has been done. So I click on the filter button, and that brings up the filter dialog box, and here I can see that I have had a filter turned on for a time frame that includes just March of the year. So if I want to see everything for the first quarter of the year, I need to go to the change button here, and I am going to select by quarter, and I'm going to say first quarter, and I'm going to click OK. Now, a common mistake is at this point I just leave this assuming that everything is fine because I see all the records here that are in the first quarter. But this would be a mistake. I need to click Set Filter. Until I click Set Filter, no changes have been made. And so if I don't click Set Filter, what is going to happen is it will revert to the filter settings that had been in there before I close that dialog box. Having set the filter, I'm going to close the dialog box, and now I go back and I can look at what I have in here for activities. Now, before I had a couple activities for the month of March, and now I see I have 10. Now, I had 89 activities. What happened to the other 79 activities? Well, the other 79 activities can be found then under Crew Activities, and they can also be found under my work orders. So these are the three places where work is entered for people, and when you set that activity filter, it's going to set work done in either Daily Activities dialog box, Crew Activity dialog box, or in work orders. Besides setting the filter and the daily activity or the crew activity, I can also go to System and go down to Activity Filter, and here I can set the activity filter. And a lot of times people don't want to see a huge number of activities from previous years, and so they want to sort of have a rolling 300 or 400 day view of what has been put into the system. And again, I can do this here under the time frame. So I go to Change, and let's say I want to see everything for the last 400 days, so as to make sure to include a full calendar year. And so I am going to click by last 400 days. I'm going to click OK, and again I want to click Set Filter. And now as I put things in, I'm only going to see activities for the last 400 days if I'm going to be perusing the activities that I've already entered. Setting the activity is a very easy way to look at your activities for a certain period of time by employee, by time frame, or any other of the criteria that you have to select by. It can be very helpful, and it is something that people use a lot. However, you have to remember two things. One, when you select a filter, you need to then set the filter in order for those changes to take place. And then you also need to remember that you have that filter turned on. because even experienced users sometimes forget that they have that filter turned on, and so that's where you have this little asterisk right here to tell you that you do have it turned on.